So that is the backdrop for what we heard from President Biden last night, speaking to a joint session of Congress and laying out really the ensemble of all of the plans that we've been hearing about this year, but put together really makes for an ambitious plan for what he's planning. Of course, also maybe an ambitious plan for how to pay for it. When it came to discussing taxes, however, apparently President Biden ad-libbed a line about Wall Street.
Good guys and women on Wall Street, but Wall Street didn't build this country. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class.
And so the programs he's talking about really aimed at fixing things or helping things for the middle class. Our Rick Newman tracking all of the developments and all of the plans that the president has been talking about. So what stood out to you from that speech last night and from what the president's proposing?
I've been tracking everything Biden says he wants to do. And basically, there were no surprises last night. But I think what Biden is really attempting here is a kind of polite populism. So he doesn't want to make enemies with anybody. He says he doesn't want to punish anybody. That's where that Wall Street line came from. But he really he says he really wants to help people who feel like Washington has been ignoring them for the last 20 or 30 years, people who are worried they are falling behind in a sophisticated global and digital economy. So he focused on parts of his program that will help people with childcare, help people with education, help people with family leave when they need it, and other things like that. I mean, real pocketbook, dinner table issues. He got somewhat into the weeds of all the things he wants to do, but basically he's saying we need to even things out in the economy and help the people who have not been getting ahead for the last 20 years, let's say, and get some help from the people who have been getting ahead. That's the people he wants to raise taxes on.
I mean, this is a really ambitious government expansion that Biden laid out here. Now, as you've been tracking all of his different plans, something else that we've been consistently talking about is which of these plans is actually going to happen, right? So we talked yesterday about, well, maybe something like universal pre-K would actually be achieved, but some of the other family plans won't. As you listen to the speech, and of course we got the usual rote reaction, party line reaction from the members of Congress watching, but what are the chances of this plan actually being realized?
My rule of thumb, Julie, is Biden is probably going to get about 1/2 to 2/3 of what he's asking for. The real limiting factor here is going to be that very narrow majority in the Senate, a 1-vote majority there. So what that means is the Democrats have to use this reconciliation process to pass whatever they want to get through. And that means that can only be stuff that directly affects the federal budget. So I think what that means is some of the social welfare stuff that Biden wants to do that is not directly a budget issue is simply going to fall out. Like, for example, that could make it hard for his family leave program. But I think that even on the tax hikes, I think it's reasonable that he's going to get most of what he's asking for, if not everything. Democrats clearly recognize that they've got a very narrow window to do some of these things that have been Democratic priorities for 10 or 20 years. And if they don't get it done this year, they will still have this narrow majority in 2022. But that is an election year and it just gets harder to do stuff. So the opportunity for Democrats really is this year. And I think they know that, and they're going to get some of this done.
Well, we will certainly be here watching this unfold. Rick Newman, thanks so much.